Hi, this is my first progress report. This is Austin with the Austingen. And I'll take a look first at game.h. The only difference here is I added the load resource function, user defined. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and run real quick just to show you that everything still works properly. And then I will continue to show the rest of the code. I'll actually keep going while I'm waiting on it to load. This is game.c++. The only thing that's different is load content. First, I call load resources, do my model manager to get my models, do my texture manager to get my textures, and do my shader object to get my shader. Alright, so here we go. Still runs properly. You can still move around just like you could in the original. And that should be all that I need to show you here. So you can see it still works. I'll close out of that. One other thing that is different about the game.c++ as it is the unload content function. So I use the delete calls to delete all of the loaded textures, and then I terminate all of the managers. And I will go through to prove that those are running at a later point. For the time being, load resources function, this would be user defined. As it is, you put in a name and then you put the path that you should be loading from. And I will show you the load premade function when we get there, but for that one, same thing, put a name, but then instead of putting a path, you put what premade model you want to load. So, texture map node, this is something I use for manual storage of the loaded textures. It just stores a key and a texture and a next, and then it has some get and set functions for all of those. Same with the shader map node and the model map node. So the texture manager, what it does is it keeps a first and last texture map node. It is properly implemented as a singleton. It has a load function, a get function, a delete function, and a terminate function. So what do those all do? The load function just takes the current key, puts it in the last available node, which is defaulted to the first node, just puts it in with the generates the texture, and then moves the last node to the next one. So essentially you're just going along the list, creating nodes as you go. The reason I don't have a previous is because I don't need a previous for any of my functions. I just start at the beginning, keep going until I find the key, and then I return it. And if I don't find it, I have a little dummy error here. I'd like to go more in depth once we have like an actual error system going, but for the time being, just since a print statement. And then delete iterates through same way, again doesn't need to check previous ever, and it just deletes them one by one. And last but not least, terminate is just to get rid of the pointer instance. Shader manager is more or less the same in both of those. And model manager is also more or less the same, with the addition of a get load premade function, which is the same idea as the regular load, except instead of taking a path to load from, you give it a premade model to load, and it does the same thing that it would normally do, and other than that, it's the same as the load function.